This is Morten from INKISH TV, and today I have the pleasure of talking to Philippe from Mistral in France. So, welcome to INKISH, Philippe.
Thank you, Morten. Thank you for interviewing our company and myself.
Of course, I mean, we got to know each other because I wrote that I was flying an Airbus A380 back from Boston in just 2 weeks from now. And then you said that you have actually been developing the coatings that make sure that when you go on the pathway, it doesn't get slippery. Was that rightly remembered?
Yeah. That's right. In fact, as the floor of the Airbus A380 is mainly made of carbon. Obviously, the carpet is going to slip on this kind of surface, and as well could create some static, so it could be damaging. And so we, on a request from a customer in France, we developed a specific water-based varnish that is applied on polypropylene sheets in order the polypropylene sheets not to slip on this specific floor.
And when you say that, Philippe, I can't help think about. I mean, I fly so often, and I would never have thought that there was a coating to make sure that the carpets were not causing static electricity and like that. And it shows that the complexity of technology, like an airplane, is there's so many components in it. How did you get involved? I mean, you told me now that you got involved because you got a request from a customer. But I mean, why did they call you and Mistral?
Well, because we have got this reputation that when almost nothing, something is impossible to make or to print. So even our competitors say, well, why don't you call Mistral Graphic? They may have a solution or a possibility. And so this is why this is in fact a big part of our company, is that we have got, for instance, a demand recently. It was not screen printing, but it's slightly linked to. It's from the Opéra de Paris. They wanted for the Enfer de Dante, the Dante Inferno. They wanted to have the shoes, I don't know how to say that in English, but the shoes of the dancers. They wanted to have to paint the shoes with black ink that will, after dancing or while they're dancing, will change into ash. And so they are at the beginning the shoes are black. And the more they dance, then it becomes grayer, because you've got smoke, you've got dust coming from the shoes, and at the end, it's like you've got ashes everywhere, like in the Inferno. This is some demands we have. We had as well a demand from that was in screen printing from an organization called Plan. That's this very very nice organization that fights for the rights of the girls to help them studying all over the world. And they wanted, in fact, they printed in digital a Canva, and on the digital they printed girls working at school, and then they wanted to print on top of that an ink that was that showed the same girls working, for instance, sewing, knitting, and the concept was to stretch this canvas in Paris or in Berlin, wherever, and if you gave €5, you had rubber, and so you could rub the ink on the canvas in order to discover the digital print that was just beneath. And the difficulty was that the ink has to be easy to remove and strong enough to withstand manipulation, stretching, etc., etc. This is this kind of thing that we make. We develop, in fact, between one and the average from 1996, almost one new product every week.
Fantastic. So that basically is that like the core of your business, that you do specialty, or do you also do, let's say, more commodity inks
We
and
do
paints,
both.
or is it always
We do
special things?
both. We are more well known with the specialties, but we have as well all the standard inks that if somebody would like to print even offset or flexo. And then for the standard inks, in fact, I work mainly with partners that you know, like Nasdaq, like Afford, Grafco, some chemical, Norcoat. I forget. There are so many that I'm working as a partner, and I have no real competitor. There are colleagues working, so sometimes I know that for the big companies, it's difficult for them to develop really very special things. Like for instance, somebody asked us for a specific thing, wanted to have a invisible fluorescent orange, and it's difficult to have an orange fluorescent invisible. So we made several selection with pigments, and we managed to get this. For instance, in France as well, in Carcassonne, there is one of the major festival of politic film. That is, and they asked me, it was last year, asked me if we could develop an ink in order to make it to make the rewards, the palms more secure. And so we made a special ink that is invisible, that is green iridescent, like to remind the green background in cinema. That was retroreflective, so you could see it with a flash smartphone. You could see the filigrane. It was phosphorescent as well, so you could, if when you switched off the light, you could see the logo appearing, and at the same time, it was as well invisible fluorescent, 369 nanometer. That's it.
Philippe, just before we turned on the camera, we spoke about curiosity and how that kind of lead to learning and how to get smarter with things. What you just shared with me seems to be not so easy. I mean, is it a challenge that is like fun? Because I take that you have a kind of a chemistry
Yeah.
background, or at least understand those components. Because how to even consider, okay, orange fluorescent and should be invisible, and or a shoe that comes into ashes because the colors are changing, or having a non-slippery water base. I mean, there must be so many ways to get to that result. But that is. I mean, do you have a chemistry background, or what is
Yes,
your
I'm a
background?
chemical engineer, as we say in France. I don't know if you know the the, 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 the schools, what we call the great school, grandes écoles in France, come from Central Marseille. And obviously the chemistry is interesting, but ink is like cooking, it's like a recipe. You can you've got all the ingredients and you gather them all together and you make something. Like for instance, somebody wanted to have something that we could eat, so we made an ink that was able to be eaten. Like at the moment, we are making a lot of cosmetic inks. I mean that these are inks that we print onto a substrate, and the people for the rugby World Cup that is soon, all the European Games, people are going to have cards with, for instance, for France, blue, white, and red, and so you moisture with water or saliva, and so you can decorate your face or whatever. And obviously, all the ingredients are INKISH approved, so they all come from the cosmetic industry database. But this like we had to, Asterix and Obelix.
Hmm. Oh yeah,
Okay,
I love
for the
Asterix and Obelix, of
the
course.
50th anniversary, they asked us if we could make an ink for Obelix that contained menhir. Menhir, you know, the big stone that Obelix on. So they put they milled menhir, 30 tons of menhir to make some powder, and so we made an ink that was containing menhir. That's it. Powder. This is one thing like that. Like for the 2016 Euro Championship, we made an ink for the Post, the French Post office. We made an ink that smelled grass, on the field. So you could have the ink smelling grass. But you have thousands of products like that.
And when you, as a company, offer these services and have that kind of specialty niche where you go, because one of the other things we spoke about before we turned on the recording was also that maybe screen printing can be seen as a very old-fashioned type of screen printing. But you said to me basically what you cannot print in Flexo, or you cannot print in offset, or you cannot print in almost any other technology. You can always print it using the screen technology. Um, I understand the process. I think that most of our audience understand that process. But is there limitations? Because I mean, when you develop the chemistries and the inks and everything, for all these wonderful applications that you just mentioned, is the technology using screen, does that have any limitations, or does this mean basically that every screen printer in the world, they could actually call you and use your services to develop new products and
Yeah.
new services for their customers to develop even further using the
Yes, of
technology?
course.
Is that correct?
Yes, of course. In fact, the limit of the screen printing limit is obviously the mesh. So
Yeah.
you can print very fine inks using very fine meshes with an average film weight equivalent to Flexo, more or less, and you can go down to a really coarse mesh where you can print 300 grams per square meter, even more, 800 grams per square meter sometimes, with a mesh with
That's a lot
six
actually.
threads per centimeter. It's like a mosquito net. So you can do almost what you like. Obviously, if you want to print gravels like that, it's impossible. But
Yeah.
you can print a glue, specific adhesive, then sprinkle the things on top. You can adapt. It's easy.
Mistral Graphics was founded in '96, but you have a background from the industry. So tell me a little bit about how did you get into it, and what is your experience?
Well, in fact, when I finished my school of engineers, obviously when you're a young student finishing study, you send CVs everywhere, letters, whatever, and I had possibilities with Total, with Elf, with Oz, and I had the possibility with Marabout, Inks, and I decided to send as well a letter like that to Serical, and when Serical received my letter, I didn't know that, but they had in mind 1 week earlier to hire an engineer to take the head of the technical department in France. And so before sending anything, they received my letter, and so they decided to hire me, and this is why I started from 1988. It's a recall Broadstairs, UK, and to 1984, and then after a small I don't know how you say that, interlude, no, one and a half year more or less working with some chemical, we decided to create Mistral Graphic.
And you are located near Toulouse, just for people to understand where you are located. How is it? I mean, do you sell internationally, or are you mainly a French
Yeah.
company, or do you sell
Well,
everywhere?
it's mainly France, then Europe, Italy, Spain, Austria, Germany, a bit to Asia as well, a bit to Africa, uh, tiny bit to the States, a bit to the States, and but Asia, in Asia we sell products to people That's mainly the main customers we have is that the people who own, I don't know if you know, these digital textile machines like Kornit, Eon,
Yeah, Koditsa,
Okendo.
no, yeah, yeah,
So we developed a special plastisol ink that is able to be printed, and you can print on top with the water-based digital ink. And apparently, we are the only one who managed to make this
to do that.
formula. And so the advantage is we combine stability of the plastisol and digital printing, because a lot of people developed water-based inks, white backup, but no plastisol.
Um, Sounds fantastic, Philippe. How big is your company, and I mean, what is the plans for the future? Is that something you can share
Yeah,
with me?
no problem. We are a small company. Our turnover is more or less 1 million euro per year. We are six in the company, and obviously we would like to develop more, but in fact we are so busy trying to answer the questions, and that we have no time really to communicate as well. I try to send sometimes some posts or whatever about specialties, or sometimes I see some colleagues saying that that's it. We managed to develop a water-based ink for pad printing, for instance. I say, well, I send a comment. I say, you would have called me 10 years ago. I would have given you a solution. It was much faster. It would have been much faster. So, well,
Yeah.
we have people asking products, and what we try to keep. We try to be at the same to keep a certain level of acceptance. That means that we can talk and answer demands from an artist or a student that would like 50 grams, 10 grams, 100 grams of product. And we can as well work with companies that are going to buy from us maybe 3 tons, 4 tons per week. So there is no limitation. I mean, if somebody would like to buy a small quantity, can. Like big quantity,
Yeah,
can as well.
but I take that with let's say a team of 6 7 people and €1 million turnover, basically you can operate with higher margins because you're specialized in what you do. So the volume is not in itself important. It's more the projects, I guess, right? I mean, so let's say that people watching this film, they have like special requirements from their customer, they should call you because this is something. I mean, the bigger manufacturers are specialized more in the, let's say, the
You're right.
traditional inks, and so. Do you think, because I mean, now we just met, of course. So I mean, are you the sole driver of this, or do you have other people also on the team that can develop the
Yes, in
inks?
the lab. Well, mainly I am starting because due to the experience, it's much easier. Because
Of course, yeah, yeah.
95% of the specialties and the special demand that people ask for, or 95 and more than that, but 95%, we solve the problem within 5 minutes. So,
Really?
yeah, because in fact, it's you have got all immediately the idea. The man is asking, "I would like to have this, doing that. Do you think it is possible?" Well, if we do this, okay. Maybe I made something like that. Okay, so. Like for instance, I showed to somebody the inking. You know, the inking is quite a problem. Well, I showed to
Of
somebody
course.
a very easy solution. You apply a specific coat on a paper, and I showed that in France at a Cyprian show to an organization. I don't remember. I think it was unique.
I was at
Oh,
Cyprian.
okay, well, but we have got a stand every year. So if you would like to,
Okay, then we will see each other in is it January,
yeah. So
February 24? Yeah, yeah. We will
you
be
would
there. We have an
we would
agreement,
be
so we
pleased
will
to
cover it.
welcome you on our stand. No? No booth.
That would be
And
so
so
nice to
I
meet you in
showed them.
person.
You print it, and you put it in the water, and after a couple of seconds, you just withdraw the ink without any problem. So we are working around with water-based biodegradable products. with the solvent-based biodegradable products as well. It's difficult because you need to have adhesion. It's difficult, but as you said, people are asking us specific demand. If you go, for instance, if you go to a fragrance shop, more or less 10 to 20% of the packaging is covered with our products.
And what products is that? A coating or is that the ink itself?
Mainly varnish, inks, specific application. It could be like we have been the first one to develop a water-based electroluminescent pack. That's when you talk to professionals, they say no, it's impossible. So we developed it and we sell it to a customer we are working with closely. Well, as I said to you, we can develop very small quantities of product for small demands, and it could be very, very large quantities for this.
Fantastic. Philippe, I want to thank you very much for your time here on INKISH. A fascinating story, but both your story, but also what is even possible. I mean, I think even all the skilled people that watches INKISH, they will be surprised that, okay, there is a company in France that can solve a lot of their problems and also create higher value by creating special kind of things where you can use the technology and the skills that you have and your colleagues have. So, Philippe, thank you very much for your.
You're welcome, Morten. It was.
I'm very pleased that I see you and meet you.
To exchange with you. Great pleasure. And as I said, if people would like to come to Carcassonne, it's a splendid city. We have got the biggest medieval fortress, European fortress in Carcassonne. If you have a look on YouTube, you will see. As well, Bastille Day is quite huge in Carcassonne. We've got wine, we've got the cassoulet that is very nice to eat. So whenever you're around, Morten, it would be a pleasure to welcome you and to invite you to meal.
Fantastic. And Philippe, now I know that what you're doing in your probably not so much spare time, you're a tourist guide as well. I knew it. Thank you, sir.
Take care, Morten. Take care. Bye.